Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor, bringing you another video on how to raise your vibration so you can live your best life. Welcome to the late edition of Monday Magic. Boy, are the energies intense today. So, traditionally on Monday, the Monday Magic video is a energy reading on how I am reading what is coming through right now. I always preface this with the fact that we will all experience energies differently. If you are part of my community, there's a high likelihood that you're experiencing something similar. If not, that's okay. This message is not for you. You can wait for the more general videos that will come out for the rest of the week. But for today, let's talk about what's going on right now, because this is quite a shift from what we've had the last couple of weeks. Very, very intense. And I am certainly experiencing a lot of very new and different, intense energies. That's just the best word that I can come up with right now. Relative to the last couple of weeks, we've not traditionally, in recent weeks, we've had a lot of ease, a lot of flow, some calm, not a lot of activity astrologically, energetically. It was very healing and restorative, maybe even a little boring. And somewhat out of nowhere, things have really picked up in the last couple of days. I would say it kind of started about Thursday and has ever increasingly intensified. We do have a full moon in Capricorn coming up on the 13th at 5 a.m. Eastern Time. Typically, the energies build about 3 days before and last about 3 days after a full moon or a new moon. Obviously, we're well before that 3 day period if we're looking at last Thursday, and even now we're still barely in it, and yet it is as intense as a full moon would typically be. So some things astrologically to explain this Capricorn full moon is activating a point where we had the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in 2020, and maybe even again in 2021, if I recall correctly. It depends on the exact degrees that we're looking at, but the general area of this chart can be accredited to or associated with, we'll say, COVID and some of the lockdowns, some of the extreme control and pressure, some of the death and rebirth of what we knew and what has come out of that, the new normal, things of that nature. And then you add into that the fact that Pluto is also involved not only in this point that's being reactivated, but also in this full moon. And Pluto oftentimes brings extreme, intense energies similar to what we're experiencing right now. I would say this is a prime example of the flavor of Pluto. And some power and control dynamics are certainly available and evident. And that, again, is very typical of Pluto. So I like to mention a little bit of the astrology because it does kind of help us understand what's going on. But I do focus primarily on the energies. And so the energy, like I said, is very, very intense, very heavy. And there is a very strong theme of testing coming through that some of us have spent the last few years processing some of our wounds, our habits, our patterns, releasing triggers, things of that nature. And we may have come to a point where we thought, I got this, we're over the hump, we're on to the next thing. And this energy wants to bring it back around one more time to see, have you really moved on beyond it? Have you really released yourself of this pattern? Have you really healed this wound? Are you still triggered by these same old wounds? And that has been very evident in my life as well as some of the people that I am talking to. So you're certainly not alone in this if you are feeling tested, if you're feeling any type of pressure or intensity or re-triggering of old wounds that you thought had passed. I'm getting a really strong sense that this is a dissolution of contracts, that there may have been patterns that played out not only in our lives but generationally, in our parents or grandparents or many, many generations back, that we are currently dissolving contracts around. That there are responses in people and in the energy that are far more extreme than the situation would call for. And what that tells us is there's a big energetic charge behind that, that there's something even greater than the situations, even greater than the person carrying the trigger or the wound. And they're carrying the burden of that for many, many generations, that this is generational trauma, generational contract healing, and multiple timeline healing. That you'll notice that sometimes it feels like this doesn't quite make sense for what I'm experiencing right now or what this situation is calling for. Why is it so much bigger? And oftentimes I get a very strong sense that this is multiple timelines, multiple generations. So for me, timelines kind of go this way because they're simultaneous, and then generations kind of go this way if you're talking linear time. That is something that continues to perpetuate. So people are triggered, people are triggering, people are mirrors, always. So we all have to own our part in this, that when a person is triggered, it says a lot about them and the wounds that they're carrying, but there's also a lesson in it for us, that we can see the evidence of their response as indication of something that we also are being tested on, or may have previously moved through and are sort of solidifying the yes, I understand that this is not about me. Yes, I understand that it is my job to be loving and in the light, and to hold the presence and to hold space for this trigger, and to recognize that no matter what, at the end of the day, everything is in perfect divine order, and I will hold my light through this situation. There's a strong sense of taking our power back, instead of allowing us to step into, instead of allowing ourselves to step into a victim mentality, to start berating ourselves or to question what's wrong with me. In these moments when people around us are triggered or when the energy is intense, there is a testing happening that is asking us to stand in our power. And part of that is self-love, in the remembering that I am valuable, I am worthy, I deserve to take up space, I deserve to be here, I deserve to be treated properly, I will stand up for myself, I will speak my truth, but I will do it from a loving place. I will hold space for you. I will recognize that you are hurting and that there is pain behind whatever others are experiencing, and to remember to ask yourself, am I stepping into Christ consciousness right now? Am I coming from a place of love and light and holding space for that? And is there anything in me that is left over in this situation that needs to be healed? So standing in the eye of the storm was a very strong theme that has been coming through for multiple days now. And recognizing that while it is appropriate sometimes to exit a situation that is toxic, there is also a sharpening, a strengthening that happens when we stand in the eye of the storm, where we become more and more willing to be that trigger, that especially as light workers, and I like to just say good-hearted people, because it really doesn't matter how you self-identify. All labels can potentially become egoic, and so I really would rather not go to that place. But if you have a genuine good heart, if your intentions are, I don't want to say pure, but generally pure, generally in the right vein, generally headed in the right direction most of the time, you're being activated. You are being called to step into your power, step into your purpose. And part of that is going to be triggering for other people. That we have big energies. That as we step into the light, which everyone is capable of doing, and eventually they will. But as we do this, as we are leaders, as we forge the way for others, we, by default, by taking our power back, by stepping into our purpose, by self-actualizing, by becoming what we were made to be, not what the world made us to be, or not the trauma responses or the coping mechanisms that we ended up adopting to survive, but truly self-actualizing and stepping into all that we were made to be, that will trigger people. Your power becomes very, very strong. Your light becomes very, very bright. Your, covered in goosebumps, your aura grows, and you reach more, you shine brighter, you intimidate more, you trigger more. And that we have to be okay with that. We have to be willing, even as the hypersensitive or the extremely empathic, we have to be willing to sit with the discomfort that is inevitably going to come with that, knowing and reframing the stories that we tell ourselves. That yes, I see that my light is causing you pain. Yes, I feel your discomfort at a very extreme core level. I feel your pain, and I'm so sorry that that hurts you. But I will not shrink back. I will not play small. How you feel is not my responsibility. And so these intense energies, the purging, the pain that can come with the discomfort really can be shifted by the stories we tell ourselves. That instead of saying, there's something wrong with me, why do I trigger them? I don't fit in, I don't belong here, I can't do anything right? All the stories that our trauma voice wants to tell us, we can step back into our power and say, I am of service in this moment. That my triggering you is helping you. That when I shrink back and I play small, I'm actually enabling you to hold on to your wounds, to ignore them, to deny them. And that this discomfort that I'm feeling for you and with you is helping you. And as they heal, as they see this, know that you're planting a seed, that you'll never see the evidence of it in the moment. They will never say, oh, you're right, you triggered me, thank you, let's go heal together. Not going to happen. But that's a seed that was planted. And the way you made them feel, the words you used, whatever it was, will go with them. And they cannot deny it. And it will not leave them alone. And so remember, as you feel it and you move through it and you trust it and you believe it and you love on it and you say thank you, knowing that this too shall pass, you have been of service. You have helped to raise the collective vibration. You have helped create heaven on earth. You've helped one person come just a little bit closer to healing. If you are that person, if you were asked to stand up for yourself in the face of someone else's adversity, in the face of someone else's pain, if you were able to recognize that their pain is not my story, their feelings are not my responsibility, I no longer have to carry the weight of the world by trying to take care of how everybody else feels, then give yourself a pat on the back. Congratulations, you've officially leveled up. And if it felt a little uncomfortable, if you felt a little bit of pain, just remember, when we go to the gym and we lift a heavy weight and the muscles are sore, there's a breakdown that has to happen before there is a breakthrough. This is a death and rebirth moment. Pluto being involved like this, Pluto is very much known for the death and rebirth. That the pain, the intensity, the discomfort that we're feeling right now is the death side of it. And as we move through it, hindsight is 20/20, there is the rebirth on the other side. So again, we have to shift that story of what we're telling ourselves. Instead of saying, I'm the problem, you say, I'm helping. Instead of saying, this pain will last forever, we say, I look forward to, I appreciate, I look with curiosity, I watch, detach, and observe. I'm so curious how this is going to work in my favor. I wonder how this is going to play out. Life is fun. Tell yourself that new story. The universe is conspiring in your favor, always, and in all ways. Everything is in perfect divine order at all times. Know that there is a new, more powerful version of you that is being born out of this. We are in those final moments of activation. We're in those final moments of truly purging the very last bits of those traumas and wounds that hold us back and keep us from fully self-actualizing, fully stepping into our purpose. It's the last bit of those patterns we can't see without the mirror. That those people who are triggered or us being triggered, it's telling us where that wound is. It's a gift. It shows us where we need to be bold and brave and move towards that pain sometimes. And that's even a message for me. I did it and it was not comfortable, and that's not what I would normally do, but man, on the other side of it, it makes sense. and the evidence that that was the right thing to do is there. There is no more shrinking back. We do not any longer have the option of playing small. And one last piece of what I feel is going on right now is the death and rebirth process that is happening, the purging of the old patterns. You could even say the death of the darkness. That there is in those moments of triggering, either for you or for someone else, the intensity, the pressure, the tendency to go towards those catastrophizing thoughts that say, it's not worth it, I'm a failure, I'm a burden. You have the opportunity to kill off the darkness that has haunted you. There is a dying off of the collective narcissistic energy. And as I experience the death of it in my life, I see the evidence of it is sort of clinging to the last bits of hope, right? Reaching out just to see if it can get back a little bit of energy so that it can survive. The image of a dying animal comes to mind, writhing in the corner, wounded on its last breath, desperately scratching at you, trying to protect itself, dying literally in its last moments of life, trying to survive. And that feels like part of what we're experiencing right now. So know that this too shall pass, of course, with everything. So long as you don't allow yourself to stay in the self-perpetuating negative thought patterns that will keep you there. Keep your eyes on the prize. Know where you're going. Stay focused. Fill your mind, fill your body, fill your heart with goodness, reassurance, reminders of the promises to come. And know that you're doing good work here. Hindsight's 20/20, like I said. We'll see the evidence of it very, very soon. I will also add that shortly after this full moon on the 13th, about a week later, there's more activation coming. We have Uranus conjunct the North Node, at the same time conjunct Mars. So if this energy doesn't dissipate for you within 3 days, know that it may take a little bit longer. We may be looking at closer to a 10-day window on this one, which of course puts us into the new moon. I haven't looked into that one, so I'm not going to say if it's good or bad, but know that, again, this too shall pass. So a little longer than I planned on going on, but this is an intense energy, and I'm sure a lot of us need support, so you are not alone. That is the intention of these videos. We're all in this together. Everybody experiences some level of this in different ways, in different experiences in their life. So it may not be the same person, they may not have the same name, it may not be the same situation, but at the end of the day, we're all experiencing the pressure to level up. So you are not alone. If you feel so called, I would also appreciate a little comment below letting others know that you're also experiencing something similar. Remember that your comments do help not only me and the YouTube algorithm, but also your brothers and sisters who are part of this community. All right, with that, I will leave you. Please do like, subscribe, and share. On to more lighter topics in the next few days, and trusting that it'll be fun in a week or two when we get to kind of discuss where this has taken us. All right, I'll see you guys on the next video. Namaste, my friends. Take care.